Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 10 of Ignite episode. We are so excited to be here. I have a wonderful guest, and today is also my birthday, so it makes it extra special. And so I picked an extra special guest, someone I've been watching from afar as her career has been growing. I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast and happy birthday. I didn't even know it was your birthday.
Thank you.
My name is Anyiko Owoko. I'm in media, I'm in PR, I'm in arts and culture. I also work as a music curator and event curator. So I would say I'm deep into the industry of arts and culture, and I do a lot of things around it. Yeah, so that's it. I love artists, I love promoting artists.
I love Anyiko. She's so bright, she's so warm, and her story is so wonderful. I really hope that everyone will feel inspired and ignited after listening to her. Every episode, I like to look for a word to help guide the episode. And today's episode is the word gift. Now, what is a gift? A gift is defined as a thing given willingly to someone without payment, a present, or it is a natural ability or a talent. And on top of that, I want to use a Bible verse that will help guide it. A very interesting one, in Proverbs 18:6, which says, "A man's gift opens doors for him and brings him before great men." And I do believe that Anyiko's gift has opened for her so many doors, but she has had to pursue. So basically, what we'll be talking about is looking at when it says that a man's gift will open gifts for you. Is it that you sit, you have the gift, you know the gift, and you sit and you wait for it? Or does it mean that as the gift makes for you room, you also work on this end, work in collaboration with your gift? And just even before we begin, how would you define yourself?
How would I define myself? I would define myself as a young woman, as a woman who was born and raised in a small town. So I'm not a typical city girl. Despite the fact that I work with, celebrities and African stars, like I love my downtime. I love farm life. So that's really who I am. I'm not what everyone thinks I would be. Like I'm not always striving in these outside spaces, but I also like to take some time to be by myself, to be at home, to be in the farm, to be out of town, to connect with my ancestors, to connect with my parents, my relatives. So I am down to earth. I'm very humble, and I'm humbled by life and experiences and all the people who I've met. You sometimes also meet a lot of established artists, and they're so down to earth, and you're like, okay, there's a lot to this than the showbiz.
Yes.
So yeah.
I know that it's been a journey to reach the point that you are right now. And would it be wrong if I say that you're one of Africa's most sought out publicists?
No, it's right.
Yeah.
It's very right.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know what a publicist is. Would
Yeah.
you help us understand in your own words who is a publicist?
Yeah, so a publicist is somebody who does very specific PR for specific individuals or projects. There can be music publicists like I am. There could be film publicists. There could be fashion publicists. I'm actually a music and entertainment publicist. So sometimes it's not just music, but something like an event or a project being released by an artist who's not necessarily a musician, can be an author, can be a designer, So that's what a publicist does. And basically they are the interface between the creative, the artist, the project, and the rest of the audiences that might want to relate to the person, to the individual, to the artist, to the project. So it could be, the audiences could be media related, or could be fans, or could be any outside stakeholder. Sometimes can also be potential partners and collaborators. So if you're a brand, if you're building a brand, you don't want your brand to only be visible in the media, but you also want this brand to appeal to potential collaborators. So the publicist needs to be privy of this 360 approach. It's not one-sided. I think if you're a publicist, you can't just think just media. You have to think media, you have to think fans, you have to think about all the fans on all the platforms. How are you activating the fans reading the newspaper, those online, those on the ground? Like, are you having enough one-on-one interactions with the fans of these artists or creatives? How are you activating potential collaborators and partners? Like, how do they want to see you? How do they want to interact with you? That's why you find for some artists or some publicists, they have different kind of shows for their artists. There could be like a private show for the fans or a VIP shows for some sort of different kind of individuals. So a publicist has many roles, but I think in summary, they are the interface between the artist, the project, and other audiences that might be interested.
Who are some of like well-known artists that you have worked with? Just so that the audience can have an idea of who are.
Okay, so a lot. In Kenya, I would definitely say Sauti Sol. I've worked with Modoni, Drama Queen. I've worked with Fena. I've worked with Mandela. I've worked with Ben Sol, Niviri. Tanzania, I've worked with Vanessa Mdee, Jukes, Diamond Platnumz, Lady JD, Ali Kiba. Uganda, I've worked with Bebe Cool. I've worked with Fig Fameka, Lydia, Jasmine. The list is endless. In West Africa, I've worked with Yemi Alade.
Oh, you worked with
Mr.
Yemi, yeah?
Easy, Loje. Who else? Like, it's really a lot of artists. Sometimes it's hard to count. I mean, Dare, Shay Shay. Internationally, we've worked with Major Lazer. Worked with who else? I don't know. I have to probably open my website.
That's a really long and impressive list. And since we are talking about gift, I know that you cannot always put your gift in a box, but now looking back from where you are looking back, what would you say your gift is?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question.
What do you think your gift is? Is it that you're able to create hype? Is it that you're able to connect people? Is it that you're how would you describe your gift?
Okay. So I think I will try. I think my gift is in connecting people and also connecting people in unique ways. So there's a basic connecting people where I know somebody and I think these two people need to know each other, and then I leave it at that. Or seeing two people or two projects and seeing ways those two people can actually collaborate with and make sure I orchestrate that till the end.
Do you think that you know how to also make artists shine? Because just having your gift alone, people might not know. Do you feel like your gift is able to brighten, or I don't know if I'm using the right word? Yeah?
I think so. Yes, I think yes, but I would say that's also a collective effort, right?
Yes,
like I can make you shine, but it's hard to make you shine when you don't see yourself a certain way, or you also don't collaborate. So yeah.
Okay, I do see that, and like what I love about your story is that how it began and how it is right now are so different.
Yeah.
I think the most powerful thing about your story is that there was a spark of something, and you are keen enough to say, okay, I'm good at this, and you are able to follow the voice. Just even before you tell me, before your journey began, what kind of a childhood did you have? Maybe tell us something small about you. Yeah?
Just a simple childhood. I mean, I was born and raised in Molo, which is a small town close to Nakuru. So, just go to school, come back home, do your homework, watch KBC, sometimes go to the farm and farm. Like, what is it called? Like, what is a plow? Like, my mom would take us to the shamba for plowing, and I really hated it. Like, you go plow mboga, unaenda unapalilia, like mahindi, and sometimes go bring potatoes from the shamba, or go bring carrots, or go tuna the mbogas, and then you go tuna the mbogas, you kutana with a chameleon. My sisters had to milk the cows.
Oh,
I was never made to do that because I was the last born, so
the
nilionea
baby
huruma.
privileges, huh?
So really, village farm life, like very simple. So that was my childhood.
How do they define success in the village? Like, there was something interesting you told me when we were discussing. Is it that success is leaving the village? Is that like the way that you
100%. Success is leaving the village and making it in the city. You know, if someone says, "Oh, the daughter of Mrs. Owoko went to Nairobi and she's very successful," that is success. You know, we always knew the people from Molo. So Sophie Kenya is also from Molo.
Okay.
The one and only Sophie Kenya, who I think works at the BBC right now.
She's doing
So
well.
like it's a small town. We all know each other and we all wish the best for everyone. So the dream was just to leave Molo and go and make it in the city. So that is success, you know.
So what were like your childhood dreams? I want to see how it connects to what you did to campus, or is it completely different? Like you just kept like just knocking on different doors? So what were like your gifts? Now when you look back, what were your gifts growing up as a child?
I don't remember what my gifts were. Maybe storytelling.
Okay.
You know, I loved storytelling. I loved telling, I was going to say telling stories. All forms of storytelling and telling stories. And I also love to read. I was very inquisitive. I had so many questions. Like I wanted to know why everything is operating the way it is. And I think it wasn't normal for such a young child to be asking so many big questions. So my mom always tells me of this story. One time, I was quite young. I was maybe 10, and we were traveling to Kisumu to my grandmother's, and I kind of remember the story, but I don't remember well. And we were standing at the stage waiting for a matatu to come, and then there's some cops who passed by, and they were like, "What are you guys doing here? What are you standing here this time?" And I told the cops, "There's nothing wrong with done standing here. What is the crime of standing here? Don't harass us."
How old were you?
I was 10. And then the cops told my mom, like, "You need to take care of this child. This child is going to bring trouble to you." And she was like, "Nah."
Yeah?
So I'm very happy to hear, like, from that young age, you know, I could stand up for myself or for what I believed was right. So I think one of my gifts was not being afraid to speak my mind, to ask a question, to make a point. I might have been wrong many times, but I was just never afraid. I was always brave.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you study in campus?
I studied journalism and media studies.
Yeah.
I majored in broadcast journalism. Yeah. And I was in class with Chimano.
Of Sauti Sol.
Yes.
So you finished campus. At some point, I do believe you worked at KBC.
I did.
Yeah.
How
did you get the opportunity? Was that the first job you got out of campus, or was it helping to? Did you help manage Sauti Sol, or what were you doing for Sauti Sol?
Yeah. So that was my second job actually since campus. My first job was at the BBC. I started working at the BBC as an intern, and then I got a short-term contract there. But I was one of those interns who wasn't leaving. I was there for like 3 or 4 years, but I actually only had a contract that was, 4 months. So I was just, garnering all the experience I could. And over and above working at the BBC, I was also working at KBC. How I got that opportunity, I bulldozed my way into that opportunity. When I came to Nairobi from Molo, I knew about Grapevine. I knew this was an important show. It was one of the only shows, if not the only one, documenting arts and culture scene in Nairobi. They were quite outgoing. They were very consistent. Every Monday there was a dope show. I used to watch like where the places they go to, like Gote, Alliance, Sarakasi Dome, and I was like, bam. When I go to Nairobi, I'm gonna go to these places and find them and ask how I'm gonna be part of this show. So I was reading all the names of all the people on the show, and I could see like the producer JB Ohaga, the reporters Victor Olwoch, and I was like, when I go and see any camera crew, I'm gonna ask them, what are your names? Is Victor here? So I used to just camp at Alliance, wait for a camera crew, and one day I saw them and I just went up to them.
You used to go like consistently, just
every Friday, Saturdays, I was always there just camping. So one day I saw them and I was like, "Hi guys, like, are you from Grapevine?" And they're like, "Yes." I was like, "I'm looking for your producer JB Ohaga." And they were like, "And who are you?" I was like, "I'm Anyiko." And who are you? I'm like, "I'm just Anyiko." And they were like, "Okay, we were looking for people to interview about the concert. Do you mind being interviewed? No, I don't mind. So every time I was the first to be interviewed, and I was like, guys, I really want to meet your producer, and they're like, but he never comes to work,
yeah.
right? And then I was like, give me his contact, and they're like, we can't. And then one day he came, I met him, I took his contact, and then I just used to call him every day. I'm like, I want a job, I want a job, I want a job. And I remember he used to tell me, the show has hosts, right? I have 2 hosts.
Ooh, okay.
So there's no way I can have you on. And I was like, I just want a job, and I know I'll do better on this show. Like, you need a cool younger person.
You just knew that you could do it. Like,
I knew it. Yeah. That was the thing for me. And then one day I was sitting in town having coffee somewhere with a friend, and I got a call from my producer, and I was like, where are you? I'm saying my producer now. And I was like, I'm in town drinking coffee. He was like, can you make it to KBC immediately? I was like, yeah, sure. And then when I went, he said, the lady who was hosting the show has resigned. So we're going to do a camera screen test for you. And if you pass, you could get the job. And then they brought Jackie Ludibui from KBC. She's a renowned broadcaster. She's been there for a long time. She's among the people who started this show, Grapevine. She was among the founders of this show. So they brought her to me for me to audition to her. And that time I remember poetry was such a huge thing in Kenya.
No,
we used to go to poetry events.
Yeah, poetry
That's
nights,
when I met Adele Onyango, you know, when we were just doing poetry. And I was like, talking like poetry. And I remember Jackie was like, no, TV is not like poetry. You need to speak like you're speaking to people, not poetry. And she's like, you have something. So we're going to train you for a few weeks, and then you're going to start hosting the show. So I left and called my mom. I was like, hey, nimepata kazi KBC. I'm going to start soon. And my mom was like, yeah, right. You know, I used to call her and say, oh, I met these friends. And like, is everyone your friend?
Yeah.
Now you're going to be on TV. And she didn't believe me. And one day I was like, okay, I'm going to be on TV today. So that was my story. And I was on TV like for the next 8 years. So I really, really, hunted down this producer to get this job.
And you also had to go through a lot of rejection, but you're just
and I did a good job at it. Like I wasn't a bad host. I mean, in the beginning, I had a lot to learn about being professional on camera and all that, because I had also just started university, so I really didn't have this. I had the gift, I had the talent, I had the passion, I had the interest, but I had a lot of experience to learn, right, to garner.
So you were working while you were in campus?
All the time. I don't remember any time I wasn't working. I started campus and started working immediately, and I've been working all my life.
Why did you need to work? Why did you feel you needed to work?
I needed to work because what do you do when you come to the city? You know, my father died when I was 10. My mom is in Molo. I need to make extra money to look good. I need to make extra money to eat good. I need to make extra money to, I don't know, be in the flyest matatus and pay 150 shillings instead of 50 shillings.
Okay.
So I always loved, better things in life. So you have to work for that. I had to work for that earlier on. I remember a lot of my peers, they were wanting to go out or just to have fun or to hang out with friends. But I was always working because I wanted to afford the lifestyle I wanted to live.
Okay.
That's why I was working.
And by the time you're doing KBC, your goal was that I want to be on TV, or the goal was that I want to be on TV?
I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be on that show.
The goal, it was a big show back
yeah,
then.
I think the goal was to associate with greatness, right? It was like, this is the greatest show. This is the coolest show. And I thought, like, I want to be there. That's so cool. So I wanted to. I did.
What made you? I think in between that time you started working also with. You said Chimano was in your class of Sauti Sol.
Yeah.
Around that time, did you start working for them, and what were you doing?
So I did start working with them, or I don't know if I'd say working, because for me it was just like helping my friends. It was doing everything, anything and everything. Like the first show Sauti Sol ever did, I organized the show, and they asked me, like, can you just go to the director's office at Alliance Francaise and ask for an opportunity for us to have a space.
I'll go.
No, I wasn't like, I'll go. I was like, no, I don't think I can do it. But then they were like, you can do it. Like, we know you can do it. So they convinced me. And then I went, and the director was like, yeah, sure, you can use our space. So it just started by them making any kind of request, like, can you do this for us? So different requests. Sometimes they were management related, sometimes they were event related, sometimes they were video production related. And I was just doing everything unbeknownst to exactly what I was doing.
What made you, are you just helpful, or was it why did you want to help them? Because you could have been like, I'm a student, I have a job at KBC, I don't need more work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to help you
because they were
guys.
my friends. Because
Yeah.
they were my friends. So I was just helping my friends.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, apart from them being my friends, I did see and spot their talent very early on. And I knew they would be superstars. I knew it would have been a matter of time until somehow someone sees them and notices them.
Do you think part of being a publicist is able to see somebody, to have the eye to see someone step out? Because not everybody can see potential. Do you think that that's part of your strength?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a gift
Yeah.
even. Because
It
there's
could be
sometimes
a gift, yeah?
you
Yeah.
see an artist and you see the potential, but no one else sees. And sometimes you have to use that even by convincing media. Like, I promise you, this artist is going to blow in 2 years. And they're like, how do you know? Right?
Even going to ask the Alliance Fronte ahead that I want to bring this artist here and they are good.
Yeah.
You have to you have to sell
You have
their
to
brand.
sell.
You
You have
sell
to
who they
sell.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are like indirectly doing some work you are indirectly being a publicist without even knowing that you are being a publicist.
Correct. Yeah. At some point, being a manager without knowing I was being a manager, I just didn't know what it was I was doing. I was just helping. Then after some time, you start to notice a trend. Like, I've been doing this kind of things. What are these things I've been doing? And I'm like, okay, this is PR, or this is production, or this is management, or this is tour management. Because even when we're traveling, sometimes I would just be with them as a tour manager.
Did you reach a plateau at some point? Okay, with the 8 years are done, and you're helping
You mean with KBC?
Okay, with KBC, and also because before you branched into being a publicist, you are now just doing management, which is part of, I think, being a publicist. But there was something. Do you feel like you reached a plateau where there was a cost you had to almost walk, like believe? Because sometimes you can be chasing something that you don't really know what you're chasing. You reach a certain point and you're like, okay, I've given and I've reached this point, but there is more. I know there's more. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
People can't understand what it is, but I can feel in my heart that there is more.
Yeah.
And the opportunities I have can't give it to me. I need to do something beyond. Pay cost for something that may not necessarily have results, but position you for something, for exposure or for something bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would say that I feel like I had reached a plateau, but I feel like I felt like I needed more.
Okay.
And I felt like there was more to it. Yeah, because when you're on TV and you're a TV personality back then, when social media wasn't this social media, it was such a big thing, right? Like the personalities then were personalities because they were either on radio or TV. And I feel like because we didn't have social media, you were so big then just because you're on TV. So I felt like, surely there must be more to this. There must be more to this. Like, everyone was so happy to see you. They were like, I love you so much. And I was like, why do you love me so much? Just because you see me on TV? I don't know. I just felt like there's maybe more in-depth work or more impactful work I could do. I just felt like
because you could have joined a PR company and worked for a PR company.
Yeah.
You could have started maybe even, I don't know, artist management. But what steps did you take so that you would be able to take yourself to the next level? Because a lot of times, even when you have a gift, there's only, before you can even properly define it, whether your gift is writing or whether your gift is, I don't know, you're a people person.
Yeah.
There's only so long it can take you to a certain level. And beyond that level, it's almost like there's a higher cost you have to pay, a cost in that people might not understand what you're pursuing. Maybe it might cost you more money than you have to save more. You almost have to look crazy because you're chasing after something that maybe people don't know or can't see or don't even understand. What are the steps? Okay, so you've managed Sauti. You've been helping to work with Sauti Sol.
Yeah.
You've worked for KBC and you're like, okay, I need more. What were some of the steps that you were able to take?
Okay, so some of the steps or some of the things I thought of doing is just like filling gaps where I saw gaps, right? So during my tenure at KBC, I think I saw how artists carried themselves, how a lot of artists didn't know, didn't have any not interviewing skills, but just any skill to do an interview or know-how, or I don't know, some of them had huge songs, but they would come and downplay themselves. So I kind of felt like there was something missing. A lot of them came alone, didn't have someone to come with them. And sometimes we always had issues of the artists being frozen at the KBC gates. So that was so sad for me, you know, when the artist is calling you like, oh, I can't get inside. You know, I'm just like, I wish they could come with somebody to have to deal with that and not them themselves. So I already started seeing like there's a gap in this industry. Like someone needs to be a chaperone to the artist. You know, that's work. Someone needs to call for interview. Someone needs to brief the artist how to do the
Train
interview
them,
and all that.
Yes. Profiles,
Yeah,
make
but
profiles,
then they need to pay for that someone. So I saw that was the gap. So I was like, this is that's something that needs to be filled. But I hope someone is going to pay me for it because I want to do it as a business. So that's what I thought about. And I had already kind of been doing it to Sauti Sol, but a lot of people weren't doing it the way we were doing it. So I already had like a winning format. So I was like, I know how it should be done. So I hope someone else will want to do it with me this way and pay me for it.
And at this time, you know, there's certain gifts you have. You have the gift, you're able to help artists, your management, you're able to help them with their profiles, you're able to help organize events, but you still haven't defined it as being necessarily a publicist. At one point, I think when we were talking, you said that you had to expose yourself in the sense that you were traveling at your own cost to see. Could you tell us, like, what are some of the things that you had to pay? Because I feel like a lot of times we have gifts and we have dreams, but we are not willing to pay the price when there's no reward that we are receiving. Like, what are some of the things that what did it cost you to pursue your dream, even when you didn't understand fully what the dream was? You're just pursuing your gifts.
Yeah, I mean, it cost a lot because when I felt like I wasn't getting a lot of business from Kenya, or a lot of artists were not interested in the thing I was doing, I also decided to travel around the continent, outside the continent, to, you know, meet with other creatives, see how things work in their industries, and try to see ways of remodeling my approach, maybe my business, you know. So going to Tanzania, seeing how Bongo Flava industry works, going to Lagos, going to Alaba, which was the biggest music market, selling music back before streaming was a thing, you know, understanding how does, how do you have the biggest record in Nigeria? What do you need to do? And then going to Sweden, I went to Sweden for an exchange program at my friend's agency. So just learning how an agency operates in Sweden. And then I reached there and I found that it was a female-led agency, not even female-led, female-owned, and only females working there. So it's 100% female-owned and all the employees. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing, you know? And they were handling a lot of the beauty brands in Sweden, because Sweden is really huge on beauty brands. So I think once I went there, they have a cute agency called Story Relations.
Oh, okay.
It's still there. So once I saw that, I think it showed me the possibility of having something like that for myself. You know, when I came back to, after all these travels and experiences, when I came back to Kenya, I was like, I know it's happened for someone somewhere, even if it's in Sweden. I'm going to try do that for myself here.
Because you talked about like reaching a stage where you had your gifts, but they were not translating into financial. And I think that's the biggest struggle that people have, is that I know I'm gifted. I don't know, and maybe there is no mentor, and you're not really able to. How are you able to overcome that? Like, take the talent and cross over? Because I do know, like, traveling was not cheap. It cost you something to put yourself out there and go
definitely.
to and travel all over Africa. When people are like, you can use that money for other things, you don't have to travel. What was it costing you? Were you still working at KBC? You know, I
think I was just hustling, you know, doing different things. Trying to make ends meet and getting a pay here and there. Like when I was working at KBC, I wasn't working full time, but I was getting a salary there. Working at BBC, was getting something sometimes. As an intern, sometimes there were like some extra gigs and I would get paid for that. And then I was also working as a freelance writer for Daily Nation. At some point I was working for Up Magazine, which was really cool.
Oh, so you were hustling, eh?
I was hustling. And, at App also, there was like a pay. I could still work at App and still do KBC because it's like different timings. So for me, it was how I turned the gift or talent into a viable business was just by hustling different things. I think at some point you just get so tired of doing so many things and you're like, I wish I can do one thing that makes financial sense. And I think that was the drive to do the PR. I was like, I don't have any time, I'm always writing or always at KBC and doing this and doing this. And I still don't have so much at the end of the month. So the question was like, what's that one gig that can give me some good amount of money to sustain myself, but also give me a peace of mind? And I think I found that gig in the PR.
Oh, in PR. So you first did PR. Is PR part of being a publicist, or are they two separate things?
It is part. It is part. It is part.
Also, part of being a publicist, you have to do PR, you have to do management, you have to do...
you don't have to do those things. You just need to do what you're required to do at the moment. I feel like there's not really job description. Like, I mean, you just need to bring the PR value. And anyone can do that. Like, I didn't study PR and I ended up doing it. Like, anyone who is quick to learn, quick to study the market and what's happening, study what other artists are doing, what's happening in other industries, is capable of running any part of a business in this industry. So it's not just PR, but management, events.
At what point were you able to take your talent and be able to see and then add the language of what your talent equated to when it comes to job? At what point did you see someone and say, that's what I want to do? My talent can do that. Like that's it. That I want to be a publicist. When did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know when it was.
Did you see somebody and you're like...
I did see somebody. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been around 2015 or 2014. I had been following a publicist in South Africa called Maria McCloy. And she used to work at MTV back then. So how I got to know about her is when I used to submit Sauti Sol videos to MTV. Sometimes she was receiving and sending me responses or sending press releases from MTV. So when I started reading those press releases and connecting with her is when I started seeing like there's a professional side of this industry and I want to be a professional. I was already doing PR, but in the very early stages, I didn't know what is a press release, that you need to write it for who and for what. So just by starting to follow Maria, I started to see that there was a professional way of doing this.
Okay.
And I started writing to her, telling her she's an inspiration, and she was responding back to me. And one day I got a chance to go to South Africa in 2016, and we met, and she was so nice. And that's when I was like, I'm never turning back. I'll only be a publicist. These publicists are so cool.
So in many ways, she mentored you?
I don't know if she mentored me. I mean, she just responded to me when I asked her.
That is mentorship to a certain limited.
Me.
I like inspired. Yeah, she inspired you and then gave you language for what your gift equated to. Because a lot of times you have a gift, but you are not able to really put language to what your gift is or what your gift can do. The professional side of your gift. Yeah, that's the word I'm trying to say. What are some of the... Because I do know that when we were having a conversation, you did say that previously there was no such title here in Kenya.
Not
there was
that
no
I knew of.
That you knew of, like publicist.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges of defining a new space that is not there? A lot of people will be like, that's too much work. I'm not going to get involved in that.
I think the main challenge is it's a new thing. So who are you? What do you do? And I think that's a challenge that I encounter every day. I still meet a lot of people, especially who are not from here, who still don't know who I am and the work I do and what my company has done. So it's a growing industry, and now it's saturated with so many bonoko publicists. So yeah, it's a challenge. The challenges is that it's saturated. There's a lot of
now it's very saturated with
yeah.
everyone
I think
is a
even then it was
publicist.
saturated, and no one was just doing it as
Professionally?
no, maybe they're doing it professionally, but not specifically for artists the way I would come to do it. But I believe there were many PR people then. So it's so even when I came in, the challenge is like, why are you special? Like these other people work at big agencies. Why should we pay you? And you just started and you're just, maybe you don't even have a company. I mean, I didn't have a company in the beginning. So that has always been a challenge, to establish myself, to reestablish myself, to introduce myself, to reintroduce myself, to brand myself, to rebrand myself.
Okay, that's a
So
lot. Yeah.
even this interview is part of a rebrand. Some people still call me and are like, "Are you still doing PR?" And I'm like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah. Of course. Okay. So you have to like redefine and
all the
constantly tell them this is what I'm doing. Eh?
All the time. All the time. Yeah, because someone else is saying they're doing that and they're maybe not doing it even as good as they paint a picture. So you have to do a really good job, but also you have to really promote yourself and pitch yourself.
Yeah, and it would be easier to just say, "This is too much work. I'm just gonna work for an agency." What drives you? What do you believe is your drive? You don't.
I think my drive is the independence, the freedom. It's hard to get that with any other person. But if I could get that with any person or agency, I would be happy to be with them. But it's hard to get that with another person. If there was somewhere where I would work at my own terms, get paid well, I would love to work there. But it's not easy to get it, especially in this country. I think maybe in Western countries it's possible to just have your own rules and get paid well.
Okay. And this has been, okay, you said it was around 2019, I think, when you said that, okay, was it 2019 or 2016? I want to be a publicist. That was like a journey of how many years?
I started thinking seriously like around 2014, 2015.
Okay.
And then 2018, I think I took it seriously, or 2017.
So 2017. And the journey from campus began around...
oh, God.
How many years? Like how many? Like it was like over 10 years. Can I say it was over 10 years of just following your gift? Like, I'm good at this, let me do this. And I even as we've talked, you said that there was a time you are hustling, you're doing so many things. You're using all your gifts, but you're not channeling it in a way that is necessarily financially and maybe emotionally and mentally rewarding for you. Because if you're doing many things and it's not financially rewarding, it's not emotionally rewarding because there are so many things and they're not really at a targeted or a specific thing.
But they were emotionally rewarding. Maybe not as much financially, but I think it was fine because I was also learning on the job.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. And did you, at one point, were you ever discouraged? And what are the key lessons you've learned? So discouragement. At one point, you're like, I'm done. This is too much work. I can get a normal 9 to 5. Or maybe that never happened. Okay, but
no, I never gave up. I never was like, I'm done. No, I think I was done. Like at KBC, when I left, I was like, I'm done here, and I'm sure I'm not coming back here, and I'm sure I'm not going back to any TV station.
Oh, so you were clear, not doing TV again?
No, not again. If I'm doing TV, I'm going to be in the background. I'm surprised I even came back to my podcast because I was just like, I don't know, I missed it. I didn't think I was going to miss it, but I really missed like just talking to artists. I missed it. That's why I came back.
What made you tired? Do you think, or do you...
many years, like doing the same thing
I
for
know.
8
Monotony
years.
It can... Yeah.
It was very monotonous. So I felt like I've already done the best I can do, KBC and my show particularly wasn't open to so many new suggestions and ideas. So it was just at the verge of the internet becoming a big thing, social media. So I was already pushing so much, like, let's put everything on YouTube. And that time they're like, nah. But now I see them putting things on YouTube. So I think I just wanted to move faster with the times. Things were moving out of traditional media into new media. And I wanted to move. I wanted to move with the new media.
What are maybe 2 key lessons you've learned in like building your company and doing,
Key lessons. Maybe be patient.
Oh, that one is a hard one.
Patience.
Yeah, we like to just, you put the
Patience.
seed and immediately you
like
eat.
just keep pitching, keep showing up, keep picking up the phone, even if it's someone who turned you down another time, call them again, and also be patient with the team.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, you have new team members, they don't know how to do what you want them to do. They don't know about the company culture. So just be patient as they learn. So number one, patience. Number two is work smart. Work smart. You need a good project manager. You need a good accountant. You need to commission for the things you don't have in-house, the skills you don't have as the head of the company. You will not have a lot of skills. And if you have all of them, I mean, all the best and good for you. But I had to learn how to do some of those things and then realize I'm really bad at them and get the right people to help me.
Oh, so you if you do realize that you can't do something, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to be flexible.
Yeah, and ask for help.
Okay, yeah, because some people
maybe a lot of
struggle
people don't
with
want
that.
to ask for it because they have to pay for it, but it really helps. Yeah.
And when you look back at your career, like what is like a highlight moment of your career?
Highlight moments. I think definitely Sauti Sol making it, because we started together and I always had a big dream that they would be big and they became that big. So that was a highlight for me that I worked hard with them from day one and they were successful. So when I left, I was like, I have a success story.
No, that's a big
my
success.
First success story.
Like what is the chances that your first, and when you began, you didn't even know how big it could be. You just saw potential. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a proud story and it's something I can always have in my bag and say, I did that and we did that, and I was the first who spotted them.
And when we had a conversation, you were telling me, when you have a dream, what are the boundaries when it comes to telling people your dream, especially when it's a dream like that people can't understand? Like what advice would you give about that? Like I might have a gift, and I can see a dream, but I don't really understand, and maybe the dream looks so big, and what advice would you give me about that? Because
I mean, the advice I would give you and give anyone who's watching or listening is, just don't tell anyone about your dream, because
I didn't think. Okay,
because
explain.
They will not see it, they will not understand it, and they'll likely tell you what might not work because they care for you and don't want you to fail. And it's not written on stone that you're gonna fail. So I think it's just best to have your vision to yourself and not say it to anyone. And sometimes when you say it to someone and they make a comment, I always tell them, like, I didn't ask you to. I didn't ask for your permission, or I'm not asking for your permission. Like, I'm still going to do this. Like, just leave me.
Just also, I want you to just listen.
Yeah.
You can either agree with me or you can see the vision. And I think I like what you said when we were having a conversation and you told me that sometimes you have to show them by doing it as opposed to telling them.
Yeah.
You go out and do it, and then they'll be like, so this was what Anyiko was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I even had to show my mom this whole PR
I can
dream.
just imagine she was confused.
First, when I was leaving KBC, she was very disappointed because she was like, how, you just left and you haven't even started this other business. And for her, she was so proud to see me on TV every Mondays and to tell her friends, like, my daughter is on TV. So I think for her, she was thinking, now what will I tell people my daughter does? And then when she saw like the PR thing took off, like started seeing Sauti Sol being successful, now she had something to say, like, oh, my daughter is working with Sauti Sol or something.
Yeah, okay.
So she had to see the success to believe that this was a viable business.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do get that. And what a lot of people have the gift, they have the dream, but they don't want to do any action. They don't want to step out in faith because they feel like it costs too much to chase after a dream when there's no instant reward. Because we like that I did something and I got instant gratification.
Yes.
Are there times that you must be willing to believe in the dream so much that even when you're not getting like what advice would you give someone about because there is the season where there is no reward, eh?
Yeah.
You're just putting in the work because you believe in your dream.
Yeah.
Like what advice would you give someone who is like struggling with that balance, huh?
I think the advice is just do what you really want to do, because if you are doing what you want to do, you're not going to struggle with it. I mean, you might struggle with it trying to make it a viable business or trying to get clients or whatever. But if you really want to do it, then you will take more time to try to do it. You'll be persistent. You'll persevere. So I think the secret is to find what you want to do first. And then follow that. So if you feel like, I don't want to do this, you can try something different. Because at different times, people feel like doing different things. You know, I loved TV. That was my everything. And at one day, I was like, I don't ever want to do this
again,
and change to something different. Yeah.
Let me even just go back, even just to emphasize, is a hard season, because most people, when they're chasing after a dream and it's hard.
Yeah.
They're like, it's not meant to be. Like, it must be that it's not meant to be. They're like, I'm paying too much and I'm not getting a reward. Is it okay for it to be hard? You know, that's like the question I'm asking. Because a lot of people think that being hard means that, and you know, the romantic idea, and I think I've said it in a podcast before, is that if something is meant to be, it will be easy, and you just knock on doors and people will just open. Because when I look at your life, for example, you had it was a tough childhood. You came to Nairobi when other people their parents are taking care of them. You're working many jobs, and then you get the idea in your mind that I want to do something that is new, or I want to chase after something. Leaving a job is not the norm, and most people stay in the jobs until they retire. But you're like, KBC is good, but I want to go and chase something else. And your mom is like, why are you doing this? You know, and I'm sure the season was hard before you were able to see the fruits of your labor. Why do you think you are? And I don't know, I don't know if you can answer. I don't know if some people are just given the gift that they are able to endure more than people. Or is it that you believed in yourself so much that you are willing to experience the hard? Okay, and maybe I'm saying so many words. I'm just going all over the place. Huh? Is hard okay if you're pursuing something you love?
Yeah, I think it's okay. And for me, it's just also a risk. Some people are risk takers, some are not. I'm a risk taker. I will always take a risk, you know. And I also feel like there's nothing that is easy, you know. Even when you're employed at the best job, there's some difficulty to it. You know, being your own boss has a lot of difficulty to it. Being a boss of others, having your own agency, having to manage people, manage finances, manage
that's
clients.
tough one, yeah.
It's not easy, you know. So someone might think it's an easier route, but I don't think anything is easy. So for me, I just look at it that way. Like, I know it wasn't easy at KBC navigating here, and I also know where I'm going. It's not going to be easy. So it's just having that mindset that it's not going to be a walk in the park wherever I go.
And it doesn't mean that it's not meant to be, because even when you're getting rewards, there's the cost. There's always the balance between the cost and the blessing.
I mean, sometimes you even do a really good job in PR and your client tells you, I'm not happy with this job. You know, and then you ask them why, they explain some things here and there, and you're like, okay, you know, that's a small thing. I can fix that. But what do you even do about that? You know, when you feel like you really did a great job and your client is not happy, that also happens. So...
Do you feel like now you're in a good... I guess we are almost wrapping up, right? Do you feel like you're in a good place? And what is the vision for your PR, not your PR, your publicist company? What is the vision? And are you finally where you're like, this is it, all my gifts work here?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm in a good place. And the vision for my PR company, which is called Anyiko Public Relations, or just Anyiko PR, is to keep doing what we're doing. I think I'm kind of, I don't know whether it's comfortable, but I'm kind of at peace with where we are at. You know, we work with a sizable amount of artists and clients on projects we love, you know, around art and culture, from film, TV, literature, music, just events. And you know, we do what we are able to handle. We work with people we feel we like and who like us back, and that we understand each other in terms of working ways. So I'm just comfortable running my agency like that. I'm not trying to be like other agencies, and I'm not trying to have the biggest jobs on the continent, the biggest job in Nairobi. I'm not trying to get the best award for the best agency or something. I just want to work with a few good artists and institutions and keep developing, especially the up and coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even okay, we are about to close now. What advice would you give to someone who maybe has like a difficult their childhood or difficult upbringing, and maybe they don't see opportunities, and all they have is a gift, and they are sure that there's a gift they have. They know there's something they have. Like, what would be like your final advice? And do you feel like sometimes, and I know this is a harsh thing to say, do you think that sometimes having a hard childhood can be, I don't want to say a good thing, but it can prepare you for hardship in the future, or it can make you more of a fighter, or it can give you endurance? What do you think?
Yeah, I think when you come from a humble background, you're not a city person. I don't know about all the city children or adults who are brought up in the city, but I don't know. I feel like if you're brought up in the city, you have your like family and maybe parents and aunties, and you have an option to go live with them if something happens. But when you come from a small town outside of Nairobi, like, that's not an option. Like, that's the only option, but it's not an option for me. Like, I can't come to Nairobi, then have to go back to the village. So I think you have to work twice or thrice as hard, because you will have to go back to the village because you don't have an auntie or you don't have your parents home. But if you're born and raised in Nairobi and something goes bad, so you go to your mom's
You
house,
can
it's fine.
always run, yeah.
So for me, I think being born and bred like in outside of Nairobi, in those circumstances, definitely made me more of a fighter. And just like I don't have an option of going back there. I'm not. So yeah.
So they keep pursuing,
I keep pursuing.
put your money where your what is that? Keep your money where your mouth is. Yes, yeah. So have the dream, but be ready to work hard for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank you for
being
having me.
a guest. It's been such a wonderful and insightful just sitting here and talking with you and just learning about your experience. I do hope that our listeners are inspired and ignited. What are your gifts? What gifts do you have? I do believe that everyone is born with something. And the people who are successful figure out that thing by pursuing it. It's not enough to just have the gift. What cost are you willing to pay for your gift? What are you willing to do so that you can see how far your gift can take you? Be blessed. Have a wonderful day, and let's meet in the next episode.